This week, Lab TV travels to NAVSEA Carderock in Bethesda, Maryland, to see how Navy scientists and engineers handle a very messy problem: trash.
Navy ships are small cities, basically, where you have anywhere from 100 to 5,000 people aboard, depending on the size of the ship. And they all make waste, ranging from garbage to water waste to sewage to shower. All that waste has to be dealt with. We develop and evaluate the technologies for treating those wastes.
Just like you separate recycling at home, on board a ship, everything needs to be separated before it's processed. Even sewage and something called gray water.
The wastewater we deal with in this laboratory is sewage, which is your toilet water, and then gray water, which is your laundry and shower water, some of your kitchen dishwasher water.
Tina and her team have calculated that each person on a ship generates about 45 gallons of gray water and 3 gallons of sewage each day.
The wastewater has to go somewhere. You don't really want to discharge it into the ocean and pollute the ocean. So we like to collect it all and then treat it. These are a couple of samples of what's treated in our wastewater treatment equipment. First we have what goes in, and in this case it's the sewage we call black water. And then this is the first step. We add some chemicals and we cause flocculation, which means all the particles start to stick together and fall out of solution. This is the sludge. This is the concentrated waste, and it's all the contaminants that are removed during the process. And then this is the effluent. This is the clean, treated wastewater that can be discharged into the ocean.
Ships also have another type of wastewater called oily wastewater. It drips down from all the engines and machinery and collects in the very bottom of the ship, called the bilge. Depending on the size of the ship, they have to treat between 500 and 50,000 gallons of oily water each day.
You have oily waste coming through at this end. Oil is lighter than water, tends to rise up to the top and gets collected in this tower, which is the oil tower. And water is heavier, tends to runs down and gets discharged at this end. The water comes out of the separator and goes into a secondary treatment system called the membrane system.
The oil gets collected and can be stored or recycled. And the cleaned water, which now has less than 15 parts per million of oil, can be safely discharged into the ocean. Some materials, like glass and metal, are a lot easier to deal with.
This is a solid waste shredder, and they have it on board ships to shred metals and glass to help reduce the volume. And then once they've shredded it, they can bag it, and they're allowed to dump it overboard. Since it's inert, it's going to sink to the bottom. It's not going to wash up on beaches.
But handling plastic is a different story.
Plastic cannot go over the side of any ship, anywhere, anyhow, so plastics have to be dealt with.
They have to collect it on board and hold it until they get back to shore. The Navy developed a system called the Plastic Waste Processor, and what they do is any plastic that's on board the ship, whether it's a piece of tape on a box, you have to rip that off, toothbrush handle, toothbrush, you have to get all the plastics, and we put them into a shredder, which shreds them up so they're nice and small, and then we transfer them into the compressed melt unit, which then heats it, compresses it, and you get a disc that looks like this. It's about 20 inches in diameter.
And once they get back to shore, the discs may get recycled into usable products. Thanks to smart solutions like these, ships have come a long way from the old days of throwing trash overboard.
Things used to go over the side for centuries, essentially, and until the 1970s, that's how things were done, and harbors were horrible places if you had to swim them.
But now, their focus is protecting and preserving the environment.
And so what we've come up with is a way to make the ship not pollute.
To find out more about Navy recycling and the environment, check out labtvonline.org.